Hi all, welcome back. Today I'm talking about Runescape DragonWilds. Think something like Enshrouded or Valheim, but built around Runescape-style skills. The game originally released in April 2025, and while the overall reception was decent, a lot of people bounced off because it felt too bare bones in terms of content and features. That matters because since launch, the game has changed a lot, and it's now in a completely different state as it was on launch. In this video, I'll go over everything that has changed that matters for you. That said, it's not perfect, and I'll go over my wish list for the game as well. With that in mind, let's dive into it. At launch, DragonWilds had a big problem with survival pressure. Raids triggered too often, and meteor storms could chain back to back while you were still trying to build a base. You could lose half your progress without really doing anything wrong. Hunger and stamina drained so fast that longer trips felt risky instead of exciting. The result was a game that technically worked, but constantly discouraged exploration and experimentation. The first months of updates focused on dialing that back. Raid cooldowns were increased, meteor events were reduced, and interiors were made safer. Roofs actually block damage now, so being inside your base matters. On top of that, they added the coziness system. It slows hunger and thirst drain when you're near a bed. That sounds small, but in practice it means you can craft, plan, and manage your base without watching your meters fall apart every minute. Combat was another rough spot early on. Enemies felt erratic, hit feedback was unclear, and positioning didn't really matter because everything just rushed you. That's been cleaned up quite a bit.
Enemy reactions are more readable. Hit feedback is clearer, and melee combat in particular benefits from better attack steering. You still need to respect stamina and spacing, but deaths feel less like the game messing up and more like you just not paying attention. The game really started to turn around when magic and ranged became proper systems instead of half features. Magic isn't just a gimmick anymore. It has real utility spells that help with survival, traversal, and combat. It's much more of a core element of the game now, whereas at launch it was mostly used to make resource gathering easier. Ranged was barely a thing at launch. Now it's a full system with its own skill progression, crossbows, bolt variants, and active abilities. You can slow enemies, apply damage over time effects, and control encounters from a distance, which opens up safer playstyles and makes certain fights far less punishing than they were early on. Farming came in later, but it adds another important layer to the loop. You can grow reliable food and materials instead of constantly scavenging, which reduces survival stress in the mid and late game. Food and drinks also give concrete buffs, like increased experience gain or reduced stamina drain for things like archery, which actually changes how you approach fights and progression. Base building also saw a lot of quiet improvements that matter more than flashy additions. Placement is more reliable, snapping makes more sense, and defensive pieces like walls and gates actually hold up during raids. You spend less time fighting the building system and more time thinking about layout and defense. Unless you're me, then you're always fighting the building system. That's just how it goes. The best quality of life change, at least for me, is crafting from linked chests. It's station-based, so supported workbenches pull materials straight from storage. It doesn't cover every station yet, but where it works, it removes a lot of unnecessary inventory juggling and makes life noticeably easier. Co-op is also in a much better place now.
Early on, it was fragile. One death could slow everyone down, and shared storage caused constant stops. That's been cleaned up. Deaths are less disruptive, storage works properly, and co-op flows instead of constantly stalling. Quality of life fixes helped a lot, but content was another big issue. In mid-December, the developers released a new region called Fellhollow. It's not just more land. It comes with its own enemies, quests, debuffs, and progression. You're forced to engage with the environment instead of ignoring it, and the gear tier jumps in a way that actually feels meaningful instead of just incremental. There's also a mount now. It sounds like a convenience feature, but in practice it changes traversal completely and makes long-distance exploration far less exhausting. Fast travel helped, but this on top of that feels more future-proof. Taken together, DragonWilds has shifted from a game that constantly punished you for playing it into one that still expects preparation, but gives you the tools to succeed. Systems support each other instead of stacking frustration, and progression paths are clear enough that you can actually plan how you want to play. Is it perfect? No. Progression still feels fairly one-sided, like you're mostly working through a checklist before moving to the next zone. It's not really a sandbox. Controller support is still lacking, and crafting from chests should work everywhere. That said, if you bounced off at launch, this genuinely isn't the same game anymore. And if you like survival crafting games with long-term progression and RuneScape flavor, DragonWilds is definitely worth a second look. That was it. If I missed anything important, drop it in the comments.
And if you like videos that don't waste your time, consider liking and subscribing. Regardless, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.